Hi guys, Don here. So, yeah, I got a couple of updates about my dad, but I'm gonna give you some context first. And if I get emotional, that's because although he is doing better, got some recent updates from mommy because she's visiting him and they're concerned. But I'll get to that in a bit. So, my dad's been dealing with some health issues, including his stomach. He's getting ready for a test that would be done today. And he also had a couple of teeth extracted. And as you get older, if you're already dealing with one health issue and you get add the shock of something else, it can kind of pile up and be a shock to the system. And he was forgetting to hydrate. So back on Friday, he was in his bathroom and we all assumed that he was just worshiping the toilet. It turns out during one of his early morning bathroom trips, he fell and looks like he hit his head, and none of us really checked on him. We just thought it was this. We were so caught up in our own lives, and it wasn't until 2:20 a.m. I woke up because my so Daddy's bathroom is here on the ground in the basement. Technically, we're in the basement, so is my bedroom. It's right next door. And I hear Mommy calling out to Dad, saying his name, asking him to stand up. She's on 911 because we have a police officer arrive. He identified himself and he had to force the door open. The door frame isn't too bad. I was actually able to fix it with a hammer, so props to me. Yeah, I did that Saturday. Anyways, yeah, so and by the time I got in my room, as I realized something's seriously wrong, paramedics are there working on day. He's semi-conscious, not really coherent, trying to talk, but and Molly had me try and find his medical information on his laptop, so I'm distracted by that. So by the time I just gave Mommy Daddy's phone so she could take that plus his wallet with her to handle a paperwork while he's being admitted at the hospital because they rush him, to the ER. I had given up trying to up trying, and I'm in shock. it, and I was feeling guilty for a while. I admit it. And yeah, so sorry. Like I said, I'm getting a bit emotional because this weekend's been rough. So by this point, it's about a little after 3 a.m. Mommy left to take care of a paperwork, like I said, and to take care of a few things for my personal health. I also went back. I went back to bed. Got up at 8, and they had sedated day, had him on a ventilator and IVs and stuff to get him hydrated because the dehydration caused calcium to build up in his blood. So when later that day, and because he was upset, understandably, she slept for the whole thing, and so she and I comforted each other. And while she decided to go up to a church event up in Salt Lake, she does not mean she was opposing to Day. She just needed to focus on something while she could also internally process what was going on. I went to with Mommy and Amanda. We went to see Day. Got joined by Stephanie, Nathan, and her husband Tom, and said the guilt's understandable, but I have to care for Mandy and be support for other family members. I do have to think about myself. Self-care is important. So yeah, and but his vitals were strong. Where I could tell his vitals are strong, and So, spent time at the hospital with him, went home, and one of our neighbors, one of our ward members, because we are Latter-day Saints in this house, Sister Barra came by and brought us dinner. Bunch of baked potatoes, container green beans, and two bags holding rotational chickens. I mean, these are big cooked chickens from Costco. I mean, we really had to be creative with one of them just so we still wanted. It's gonna take us a while to eat all that chicken. They're big, but yeah. So yeah, yeah. And so Sunday, did church, did our lunches, and once Kizzy was back from her church stuff, we went to visit Daddy, and he was still sedated, but gave me Kizzy a chance to actually see him because she had gotten to see him on Saturday. And yesterday they weaned him off the sedatives and were able to wean him off the ventilator. So when we got to see him, be joined by Steph and Nathan, he was alert, awake, not being able to talk because, I mean, throat is going to need to heal after having a tube down it. Yeah, so it was down his throat, not through the throat. FYI, just to clarify. That is the good news, but he, yeah, he should be able to do some talking, but mostly just sort of rasp noises. At least that's how it sounded yesterday. And Mommy's busy day right now, and she texts me that he's doing well, but he's having trouble speaking. It's not really coming out, not for a lack of trying on his part. They are concerned about his brain because if he had actually hit his head when he fell, he probably has a concussion, and it'd be the second time. Yeah. Long story short, this is not Daddy's first time to be stuck in the hospital because of an emergency. The last time was September 12, 2009, and that was sudden cardiac arrest, but that's a whole different story for that time. But yeah, and he's on an antibiotic for pneumonia, and if he did contract pneumonia, with how wonky his health's been, because his nervous system took a shock to the system with the teeth extraction, I mean, having 2 teeth removed. And I think for Day it was on this side, but point is, you get the idea. Yeah. Things are rough. And, yeah, so I am praying that he doesn't have a serious traumatic brain injury, that he will be able to regain his ability to talk. He will get better and strong enough so he can come home and eventually get back to be able to work his jobs. His bosses are aware that he is going to be in hospital for a while. And also, I text Phil Harmon, the guy in charge of percussion on the part of the orchestra that Daddy's part of, that Daddy's not going to be available for a while. So, yeah. This has just been a real stressful time for us. And I am praying that Daddy will pull through. I will talk about what happened back in 2009. So, like I said, it was a sudden cardiac arrest. Now, there is a difference between that and heart attacks. With heart attacks, you have warning signs, generally. With sudden cardiac arrest, there is little to no warning. Your heart will just stop and just sort of flutter, or you will collapse to the floor. And you collapse, and sorry, message popped on the screen. and you're not breathing. I mean, you might make gasping noises, but you're not breathing. There's no oxygen coming to your head. Now, Daddy was at the Bobby and Lawrence Karate School up in Orem with Mackenzie and her friend Desiree for an activity, and that school is located across the street from a fire station. So Daddy was looking for a place to sit when he collapsed, and he conked his head on the stands where you could sit and watch the students watch your kids practice. And when the parents realized he wasn't responding, I mean, they checked. They began performing CPR, and Mickey, Bobby's son and Mackenzie's teacher at that time, ran across the street to the fire station, let them know what's going on, and was halfway back with the paramedics when the 911 call reached the station. Now, Mickey has several black belts. I don't know how many by this point, or and such. But yeah, so the paramedics took over on Day. They were able to resuscitate him, and he actually regained consciousness, but his short-term memory was shot. Now, yeah, and when I arrived at the school with Mommy and we had Mandy in the car and seeing him on a stretcher, it hit me hard. I ended up being hugged by Bobby's wife, Mackenzie, and Desiree. I had a three-way hug going on, and I needed it at that moment. It was scary. And he was in ICU for a bit at that time as well. His short-term memory did improve, but not to the way it was prior to the incident. And now I'm not even sure how well short-term memory is going to be working until we can figure out what's going on with his brain. So, yeah, he is still in ICU. At least he was yesterday, so he probably still is today. And I'm praying, and I'm struggling. I'm scared. I don't want to lose my daddy. I really don't. So, yeah. So there's a new updates of the more positive variety. I will share them. I had to get this out of my system. I had to let you understand what's going on in my life. So, yeah. So, like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Ping that notification bell so you don't miss out when I upload new content. You know, it'll be happier content since Salt Lake FedEx is coming up this month. And I will see you all later. Bye for now.